Okay, so how does acupuncture work? It's actually so simple. Your body is a chemical and an electrical machine, right? Now, what would happen if I took a piece of metal and I went and stuck it into a fuse box? What would happen? There'd be sparks flying, right? So the piece of metal is the needle, and the fuse box is the human body. And we know already from reflexology, which is already recognized worldwide, so is acupuncture, that there are different microsystems in the body. In other words, the hands, different parts of the hands reflect different parts of the body. The eyes, that's iridology, being able to see what's going on in the body through the eyes. There's the feet. There's even face diagnosis. You can see what's going on in a person's body just by looking at their faces. And then there's the ears, which is another microsystem for the entire human body. There's two types of acupuncture: body acupuncture and ear acupuncture, also known as auricular therapy. So if I took a piece of metal and I stuck it into a plug point in this fuse box over here, connected to something in here, there's going to be a reaction, right? Well, that's exactly how it works. It's that simple. Now, how does it work with detox? If I went and ran my finger across the TV screen, there'd be dust stuck to my finger. Hopefully not. If the house is pretty clean, but you know, there'd be dust stuck to my finger because the dust is positively charged, the TV is negatively charged, and the two attract. Right? Now, I take a piece of metal, stick it into this fuse box, and I change the polarity of the organ. In other words, the positive or negative balance, and whatever it's holding on to, it repels. Same as the TV would repel dust. It's that simple, folks. So is acupuncture evil? You know, unfortunately, I keep getting this silly question by people, you know, really people who just want to know because they heard from somebody else that it's evil. They can't back it up. But because it comes from the East, you know, I wonder if it came from the Southwest, if it would be evil, or the Northeast, if it would be evil. But because it comes from the East, it's evil. Evil, you know, like Dr. Evil. How can something be evil because of the direction it comes from? That's just illogical to say it comes from the East, which is actually such a racist, prejudiced, ignorant understanding of what acupuncture is and how it actually works. It's perfectly scientific. It's perfectly measurable. And there's nothing woo-woo in the needle. You know, they pray over the needles in temples. No, they're not. They're mass-produced in factories, the same as hypodermic needles are. You know, they're sterilized. Sterilizing the same way normal hypodermic needles would be sterilized. There's nobody praying over them. Oh, they cover it with some kind of secret juju juice. Well, that's absolute nonsense. Those needles wouldn't even make it into the border, across the borders of our country without being not allowed in because of the secret juju juice on the needle. So come on, folks. Let's, you know, use a bit of logic. You know, we could go into this a lot deeper, and I'm prepared to do that for anybody who's interested from the religious perspective. But that's a very, very interesting conversation, and I'm not sure you're going to like the answer to that because it might go and expose something that you have accepted previously as your chosen form of medicine. It might expose that, as being very harmful. So if you want to know more, I would suggest that you, why don't you do our practitioner's course, become a practitioner. I teach you all the logic of Chinese medicine, the continuum of the flow of qi, organ systems and emotions, the three-part being of man, point location needling techniques. We talk about specific cases, case studies of people that I've helped. Some within a few weeks of dying who are still alive today, 7 or 8 years later. Some people who are a few months away from dying who are still alive today and healthy, 7 or 8 years later also. I had a good time 7 or 8 years ago when I was treating people who were very ill. So I teach you all of these things. And plus, I give you all the support that you need throughout the course, via WhatsApp, or via telephone, or via email, or via video call, whatever you feel comfortable with. Also, once you become a practitioner, you're not just left there to fend for yourself. You then become part of the practitioners' WhatsApp group, and we have practitioners in there, people who are novices, who know nothing about any of this kind of stuff, to people who are doctors, people who are reflexologists and kinesiologists and pharmacists and nurses and doctors. So that becomes a pool of knowledge that you can learn from and ask questions in without being judged or ridiculed, so that you can learn that, and that's free.